David, it's Game 5 tonight from the Saddledome between the Flames and Oilers. Our coverage here on the fourth period is brought to you by Bitbuy. Use referral code TFP to receive up to $50 in free crypto while terms and conditions apply. I like the saying, can't lose in games. But this one, it's must win for the Calgary Flames. And flat out, they need to be better top to bottom in order to push this series on even further.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, if they don't, it's lights out and see you later, and
Yeah.
let's talk about all the changes in the offseason. But until then, you're right. I mean, this team, we talked about this the last couple of games. They've been off their game. They've been off their plan. They've been trying to run and gun with Edmonton's top unit, and it's not working. They have not been as aggressive out of the gate. They've been a little bit too lax to start. Hasn't worked. Now, granted, yes, 21 seconds into the last game, a bit of a mistake by Markstrom, and all of a sudden you're down 1-0. But even at that point, they were not as aggressive on the attack, and Edmonton just took advantage of the fact that they could outplay them from a stylistic perspective and from a speed side of things. So Calgary's game plan has to shift a little bit going into this game. It was great to see Chris Tanev back, but you've got to be more aggressive offensively. The last two games, we saw nothing from Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk, the two boys that need big contracts this offseason. They've got to earn a little bit more tonight if they want to keep their season alive.
You know, Dave, I'll ask you this because we kind of saw what Calgary Flames hockey was in that Dallas series, very low-scoring, tight checking, but what really is their identity? Because through 4 games this series, we haven't really seen much of it.
No, well, they've been all over the place. I mean, and that's the thing. When you play against a team like Dallas, that is, I don't want to say offensively challenged, but not as aggressive from an offensive side of things as Edmonton is, you've got to modify your game plan. I mean, that's a different type of approach. You know that if you shut down Dallas's top line, there's not much else that's going to come at you. In Edmonton's case, they can't shut down the top line, and the secondary units for the Edmonton Oilers have gotten going. We saw Zach Hyman popping in a couple goals. He's got 5 goals in this series. We saw Ryan Nugent-Hopkins open the scoring, then get another one later on in the game. So 2 on that one. You're seeing other guys that are able to create offensive opportunities and pounce. And Calgary hasn't been able to contain that, and they still have, for whatever reason, just sat back and not really modified their game. As good of a head coach as Daryl Sutter is, you got to start tweaking things a little bit. And I know he's trying to deflect a little bit and trying to say, well, yeah, okay, look, stop focusing on the negative. Edmonton's playing really well. That's all well and good, but it's time for you to play well as well if you want to keep things going. Calgary has no choice. They have to modify their game plan in Game 5 or it's lights out.
Yeah, you know, let's focus on the Edmonton Oilers for a second. Connor McDavid, I'm paraphrasing here, said we desperately want to win this morning. So you know what their mindset is heading into Game 5. And, you know, so much talk about Vander Kane, Connor McDavid, and Leon Draisaitl, that line. But it's 2 guys I want to focus on here. You mentioned his name already. That's Zach Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who's been there for 11 years and is now probably playing some of the best hockey he's played as an Oiler.
Yeah, he is. And look, this is a guy that has been through a lot in Edmonton over his span. I mean, it's the roller coaster ride that he's been on. He's at a peak right now, and he wants to keep that going. He wants to prove, just like a lot of people on this team, they want to prove that they are legit, that they are for real, that they are a deeper team than a lot of people give them credit for, and that's why he's been so effective. And Zach Hyman, we know why he was so coveted as a free agent in the offseason, and he's bringing that extra element to the table. Yes, he's popping in 5 goals so far in the series, but at the same time, he's doing the little dynamic things. He's creating he's forechecking. He's creating opportunities. He's throwing the body around a little bit. You don't have to nail people consistently all the time, but just to give a little extra boost, a little extra edge, and that's what he's been providing for the Edmonton Oilers so far in this series. You know that the big guys are going to get things done. It's the secondary guys on this team, the way that they've structured their units, structured their lines, that are going to get things going for the Edmonton Oilers. And again, Calgary just hasn't been able to contain that. So kudos on the Edmonton Oilers for modifying their game plan a little bit. Calgary just hasn't done it.
And David, final one for me. Is there anything the Edmonton Oilers can learn from watching what the Colorado Avalanche did last night? What happened in that game?
Yeah, absolutely. You know that they're looking at that. They're looking at the tape. They're watching that game, the highlights of it, and going, look, if we have an opportunity to keep our foot on the jugular, you do it. You don't let up, and that's what we saw a little bit. Colorado let up a little. Kudos to St. Louis for really coming back in that one. But Colorado had multiple opportunities to close things out. Edmonton take advantage of that. The fact that that happened last night, that you can watch that, it's a reminder that if you have an opportunity to close things out, you do it. You play till the final minute, and that's what they have to do tonight if they want to get on to the Western Conference Final.
David, thank you very much for this. It's Game 5 tonight between the Oilers and Flames from the Saddledome, as the Calgary Flames looking to stave off elimination and live to fight another day, while the Edmonton Oilers are looking to head to the Western Conference Final.